I've been a critic of Twitter, for example, where on our website we've said, they promised us flying cars and all we got was 140 characters. But it's not a critique of Twitter as a company. It's a perfectly good company. The people who work there have well-paying jobs. It's a perfectly great company. It's just not enough to improve living standards for 300 million plus Americans.
Well, while we're on the topic, I want to get back to Trump for a second, but how do you think that disconnect in some ways shapes the companies and the products that are created there?
It's, this gets very speculative, but I would say that one way I've often described the dichotomy is that Silicon Valley deals in the world of bits. Most of the economy is the world of atoms. So the world of bits is computers, internet, mobile internet, software, that ensemble. And there's been a narrow cone of progress around those kinds of industries. But then you often have less good of an understanding for the sort of industries that involve in atoms, that involve in building things. So real estate, which Trump is in, is sort of maybe the stereotypical industry involving atoms. Those are ones that are often much more heavily regulated than the world of bits. And so if you're in the world of atoms, you might be very concerned about government regulation. If you're in the world of bits, which is much less regulated, you might be much less concerned about government regulation. So there is this big separation just in terms of what they do. I wouldn't blame that on just a blind spot Silicon Valley has. I think that's a little bit too easy. Perhaps Silicon Valley has focused on the world of bits because it's actually gotten very hard to do things in the world of atoms. When I was an undergraduate at Stanford, there were still a lot of different engineering fields you could study in the 1980s. They were all bad decisions. It was a bad idea to become an aeroastro engineer. It was a bad idea to become a chemical engineer or a mechanical engineer. These were all industries that were sort of in structural decline because they were getting outlawed. They were getting regulated to death. Nuclear engineering, I mean, your parents would have been irresponsible to let you study that as a field in the 1980s. Even electrical engineering, which was semiconductors, and that's sort of on the boundary between atoms and bits, that was a good field for about a decade, not so much anymore. Computer science, not even an engineering field, that was the only sort of scientific technical field that actually had a future in the 1980s.